Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Stoicism. Tell me we're diving into a topic that many men find confusing, even painful at times: female loyalty and why it often doesn't work the way most men expect. Here's the harsh truth: a woman's loyalty isn't held by your consistency, your sacrifices, or how much you've done for her. It's held by how she feels in the moment. Her connection is emotional, not contractual. And when that emotional spark fades, no matter how much you've invested, her loyalty often fades with it. In this video, we're going to unpack the emotional reality behind this. We'll explore why feelings matter more than actions, why trying harder out of fear often pushes her further away, and what it means to be the kind of man who holds her loyalty without needing to beg for it. This isn't about blame, it's about clarity, emotional clarity, because when you understand what truly anchors a woman, you stop chasing affection and start cultivating presence. Stay with me until the end. This perspective may feel uncomfortable at first, but it could change the way you understand connection loss and what it takes to truly be chosen and stay chosen. Let's begin. Number one, loyalty to feeling, not actions. A man can give his time, his money, his effort, even his devotion, and still lose a woman, not because he wasn't good enough, not because he lacked discipline or character, but because he misunderstood what truly holds her loyalty. Men often equate love with logic. I was consistent, I didn't lie, I provided, I showed up. And yet time and again they find themselves confused when she starts to pull away despite all they've done. That confusion stems from a fundamental disconnect in how men and women experience emotional loyalty. For men, love is often built through action. For women, it's built through emotion. She doesn't stay because of the things you've done. She stays because of how you make her feel in the now. If your presence no longer stirs something inside her, if your energy has grown dull or distracted, if the emotional polarity that once drew her in has flattened, then no amount of loyalty to past actions will hold her. She's not loyal to the memory of how things used to be. She's loyal to the feeling she experiences when she's with you today. This isn't shallow, it's emotional reality. Women are tuned into the present emotional landscape. Their nervous system doesn't care what you did last week. If today you feel distant, passive, or empty, you could take her to a 5-star dinner and still lose her emotionally. If the energy is off, you could be consistent for 5 years and still be left. If that consistency lacks depth, polarity, or intention, a woman's heart responds to presence. Not just physical presence, but emotional awareness, attunement. She feels your energy before she processes your words. She knows when you're pretending to care versus when you're genuinely connected. And when that emotional connection fades, she starts to drift, not out of malice, but because something in her no longer feels met. This is why so many men are caught off guard. When relationships end, they say, "But I did everything right." And maybe they did on the surface, but they miss the emotional undercurrent. They were showing up physically, but not emotionally. They were giving her the form of loyalty, time, money, effort, but not the feeling of being seen, felt, and emotionally held. Men need to understand that loyalty is not a contract, it's a connection. It must be felt consistently, not just earned once and maintained through repetition. If your actions no longer create emotional impact, they become routine, predictable, safe, but uninspiring, and over time uninspiring becomes unfulfilling. The men who hold a woman's loyalty over the long term aren't the ones who do the most, they're the ones who remain emotionally present. They don't rest on what they did last year or last month. They create space for new energy, deeper conversation, and honest polarity. They stay grounded but never stagnant. To truly keep her close, you must ask a harder question than "What have I done for her?" Ask instead, what emotional reality am I creating for her today? Is she inspired by your energy? Does she feel safe and excited? Is your presence warm, clear, strong? Or does it feel passive, checked out, or hollow? This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about bringing more of who you truly are into the moment. Because when a woman feels emotionally connected, seen, and alive in your presence, she becomes loyal to that experience. And that experience, more than any gift or gesture, is what she truly remembers. In the end, women don't leave because you didn't try hard enough. They leave because they stopped feeling something real. So stop trying harder and start showing up deeper. That's the kind of loyalty no words can guarantee, but every woman silently waits for number two. Why feelings fade faster today. In today's fast-moving world, romantic intensity rarely lingers the way it once did. Technology has reshaped not just how we connect, but how we feel. Emotional highs that used to be nurtured slowly over time now flare up quickly and vanish just as fast. The modern dating landscape is saturated with stimulation, distraction, and infinite alternatives. And while both men and women are affected by this shift, women more attuned to emotional energy are often the first to notice when something goes missing. Feelings fade faster, not because women are disloyal or fickle, but because modern life constantly interrupts emotional depth when every spare moment can be filled with scrolling, swiping, and notifications. True emotional presence becomes a rare experience. Many women don't even realize they're disconnecting until they already feel far from the person they once adored. The once magnetic energy of their relationship has been replaced by routine. And when that happens, she begins to seek aliveness elsewhere, not always intentionally, sometimes subtly, sometimes even unconsciously. This is where the concept of monkey branching becomes relevant. Though often criticized, it reflects a real psychological tendency. If emotional safety or stimulation is fading in one place, the nervous system looks for it elsewhere before fully letting go. She doesn't necessarily plan to leave, she simply stops feeling deeply connected. And if nothing changes, the drift becomes distance. While a man might reflect on everything he's done, she's measuring how she feels right now. This emotional erosion can be baffling to men who equate loyalty with actions. I was consistent, I supported her, I never lied. But modern relationships don't run on acts of service alone. In a time when options are abundant and attention is fragmented, the emotional anchor becomes more important than ever, and that anchor is not built through provision or performance. It's built through presence, through internal wholeness. A man's energy is what holds her, not just his love or logic, but the emotional state he brings into the room. A grounded man who knows himself doesn't fear losing her because he never tried to possess her in the first place. He invites her, he attracts her. And when her emotional world feels chaotic, she leans into him because his energy is stable, not reactive. Too many men respond to emotional distance by doubling down on physical gestures or promises, but what she needs is for him to show up emotionally, to be present in his body, certain in his values, alive in his purpose. That doesn't mean being loud, dominant, or dramatic. It means being rooted. A man like that creates a depth that no passing thrill can compete with. He becomes the exception in a world full of superficial attention. The truth is, the modern woman has more access to validation than ever before, but what she's starving for, whether she admits it or not, is depth. A man who doesn't just want her, but sees her, a man who isn't consumed by the chase, but confident enough to hold his space while inviting her in. That type of presence, felt consistently, doesn't just delay fading feelings, it deepens them over time. In the end, it's not about competing with other men or keeping her attention through constant effort. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence pulls her back, even when the noise of the world tries to pull her away. When she knows that your energy is different, not because it's louder, but because it's real. You stop worrying about how fast feelings fade because she won't want to feel anything else. Number 3, the pitfall of fear-based giving. There's a dangerous illusion. Many men fall into the belief that more giving equals more love, more time, more texts, more sacrifices. On the surface, it feels noble, selfless. But beneath that surface, something else often drives it. No confidence, no clarity, but fear. Fear of losing her, fear of not being enough. Fear that unless you do just a little bit more, she might slip away. And ironically, it's that fear-based giving that often drives her further. Women are acutely sensitive to emotional energy. They don't just hear what you say or notice what you do, they feel what's underneath it. And when your giving is rooted in anxiety, it doesn't feel generous, it feels needy, it doesn't draw her in, it creates pressure. Even if you're saying all the right things and doing what you think a good man should do, the emotional weight behind those actions can push her away because she doesn't feel strong, she feels submission. And while she may appreciate the attention or the effort, At first, it quickly begins to feel like a transaction. She can sense that your kindness is no longer free. It's loaded with unspoken expectations. You're not just showing up. You're hoping every action earns a little more affection, a little more assurance, a little more of her staying, and that emotional grasping makes her feel trapped, not treasured. This is the pitfall of fear-based giving. It looks selfless, but it's deeply self-serving. It's not about connection, it's about control. You're giving not to share yourself with her, but to secure her. And that difference is everything women are drawn to. Men who give from fullness, not emptiness. When a man is emotionally anchored, grounded in his values, purpose, and self-worth, his generosity is felt as an extension of his strength. He gives because he chooses to, not because he needs to. There's no fear in it, no urgency, just presence. That kind of giving doesn't just make her feel cared for, it makes her feel safe. And safety combined with emotional polarity is what creates lasting attraction. It tells her that you want her in your life, but you don't need her to validate your worth. That distinction is subtle, but it shifts the entire dynamic. On the other hand, men who overextend themselves too soon, cancel plans, say yes to everything, flood her with messages, often find themselves met with silence or distance. Not because they weren't good guys, but because their giving wasn't rooted in power, it was rooted in fear. And she can feel that she may not say it out loud, but something in her body tells her this doesn't feel right. The truth is, women aren't moved by how much you sacrifice, they're moved by how present and clear you are. A woman doesn't need endless favors or dramatic gestures. What she needs is a man whose actions reflect choice, not desperation. So ask yourself honestly, are you giving to connect or to avoid rejection? Are you trying to impress her or express something real? Are you grounded in your emotional center or giving pieces of yourself away, hoping she'll stay? Giving should never come at the cost of your integrity or self-respect. If she's going to love you, let her love the version of you that stands strong, even without her approval, the version of you that gives because it feels aligned, not because it's a tactic to secure love, because when your energy says, I choose you, but I don't fear losing you, she feels that, and that's what makes her trust you, respect you, and lean in deeper, not because you did everything, but because you stayed true to yourself while doing it. Number 4, words are emotional, not contracts. When a woman tells you she loves you, that she'll never leave, that you're the only one she sees herself with, it's tempting to hold on to those words as if they're a signed contract. Men often do because to the masculine mind words are commitments. If she said it, she must mean it forever. But this misunderstanding creates the foundation for many disappointments in relationships because for a woman, words aren't contracts. They are reflections of what she feels in the moment, and feelings evolve. A woman's emotional world is alive, fluid, and responsive to the present. When she tells you she loves you deeply, she may mean it in that exact moment. Her tone is real, her eyes don't lie, but her emotions are connected to energy. Your energy, her energy, the energy of the relationship. If that emotional ecosystem changes, her inner truth shifts with it, and so do her words, her tone, and eventually her actions. This is why some men feel blindsided when a woman pulls away. They replay the things she said, how sure she seemed, how affectionate she was, but she told me I was the one, they say, not realizing that they've been holding on to a feeling she had, then not a truth she still feels. Now the mistake is believing her words were meant to be eternal rather than emotional. Women are not being deceptive when they speak from the heart in real time, but they are not bound by logic. The way men expect them to be, a man may hold on to a sentence as a binding declaration. A woman may barely remember saying it, because to her, the feeling, not the phrase, is what matters. Her commitment isn't locked in. Quote, it's held in the emotional experience you continue to create with her. That's why the man who constantly reminds her of what she used to say often sounds desperate. He's trying to anchor her loyalty in the past while she's feeling unloved in the present. It's not that she forgot what she said, it's that her body and heart no longer feel the same way, and she can't force loyalty to something that no longer feels emotionally alive. This is hard for men who invest heavily in action and consistency. They think, I've been here, I've shown up, I've done everything. But women don't measure love by deeds alone. They measure it by emotional tone. You can do everything right and still lose her. If the emotional connection feels dull, strained, or emotionally distant, if you want to keep a woman's loyalty, you have to stay connected to the emotional. And now, not what she said, not what she promised, but how she feels when she's around you. Is she inspired by your presence? Does she feel emotionally held and deeply seen? Is there still polarity, depth, and energy in the way you show up? If the answer is no, then her loyalty, no matter what she once said, will start to fade. A woman's truth is moment-based. That's not weakness. It's honesty. And if you meet her with resistance demanding she return to past words, you push her further away. But if you meet her emotionally, if you show up now with the depth, strength, and grounded presence that originally drew her in, it's to become the presence that makes her want to say them again. Number 5, she wants presence, not service. There's a subtle but vital difference between serving a woman and truly showing up for her. Many men believe that being supportive, attentive, and kind is the key to a lasting connection, and while these things matter, they are not what anchors her to you emotionally. She doesn't want to feel like you're just doing things for her. She wants to feel that you're with her. Solid and steady presence is not about activity. It's not in the errands you run, the compliments you give, or the comfort you offer. During hard days, presence is a way of being a calm, grounded state that says, I'm here with you fully. I'm not anxious. I'm not trying to fix or please. I'm steady. That internal steadiness speaks louder than any word or gesture. It tells her she's safe, not because you're obedient, but because you're real. A man who offers presence is rooted in who he is. He doesn't shift just to avoid discomfort. He speaks clearly. He sets and holds his boundaries. He supports her. Yes, but not at the cost of his center. That's what makes him trustworthy. Not that he always agrees, but that he's not afraid to show who he is. This is where many men lose the connection without realizing it. They try harder to serve, thinking it will deepen the bond, but in doing so, they subtly abandon their masculine ground. They become too agreeable, too accommodating. And while she may appreciate the gestures, something quietly begins to erode. The polarity fades, the respect softens. What she's longing for isn't compliance, it's containment, the sense that you can hold space for her emotions without crumbling, that when she feels uncertain, your calm doesn't waver, that when she's overwhelmed, you don't collapse into panic or try to solve her like a problem. You simply stay present, strong. Clear. The truth is, you don't need to constantly do more to be more often. The most powerful thing you can offer is quiet clarity. Being deeply anchored in yourself allows you to relax. And when she relaxes, she connects, not to the service you give, but to the man you are. So don't confuse kindness with surrender. Don't trade your truth for harmony, and never assume that doing more will make her feel more. Sometimes saying less and standing firm is exactly what reminds her that you're not just there, you're there for real. And that's what she remembers. So what does all of this mean for men trying to build meaningful relationships in today's emotionally volatile world? It means we must shift the lens through which we understand love and loyalty. The truth is that a woman's loyalty is not cemented by what you do, but by how she feels in the moment, in your presence, in the emotional space you co-create with her. That may sound harsh, even unfair, especially when you've given your time, your support, your consistency, but emotional reality doesn't follow the rules of logic. It follows the rhythm of connection, the pulse of feeling. Too often men fall into the trap of believing that loyalty is earned by doing more, giving more, and sacrificing more. But when that effort is rooted in fear, fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, it doesn't draw her closer, it pushes her further away. Because what she's seeking is not your constant service, but your grounded presence. The kind of presence that makes her feel seen, safe, and stirred. And that presence comes not from pleasing, but from being rooted in who you are. It's easy to be discouraged when words of love don't translate into lasting devotion, or when emotional shifts leave you questioning everything you thought was real. But this is not about blame, it's about awareness, it's about understanding that female loyalty is emotional, not contractual. It lives in the now, and when your energy is scattered, when you abandon your center in hopes of maintaining hers, she feels it and she disconnects. The good news is that you don't need to become someone else. You don't need to constantly perform or give more. You need to return to your core, to speak honestly, to stand calmly, to offer love from a place of abundance, not anxiety, because the man who is centered, emotionally balanced, quietly, confident, unshaken by shifting tides, creates the kind of emotional atmosphere where loyalty is not forced but freely given. If this message resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced a moment where you gave everything only to feel her slipping away? Or have you found that stillness and authenticity drew her closer than effort ever could? Share your experiences in the comments. Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to explore on emotional connection, relationship dynamics, and building the kind of inner foundation that transforms every area of your life, not just love. Thank you for watching. And until next time, stay grounded, stay